Good morning. It is Monday, June 9th, 9:05 a.m. I just walked out of True Body, my gym, and I told myself how many times to just get on here and share, and I wouldn't, because I had believed my false beliefs that I had to be healed to share. I had to have the right clothes, have the right hair, be presentable, say the right thing. All of those are just false beliefs that stop us from sharing. I want to record my wins. I knew if I stayed in bed and let the sadness overtake me, like I've done so many times before, I would stay in that standstill. I would stay in that dark well. I named that place at 14 when things were how they were. And sometimes, like yesterday, it just overwhelms. And there's no specific reason why. And that's the thing about depression. So many of us are functionally depressed. We do what we need to do for our families. We do what we need to do for our job. But internally, it's heavy. I used to describe it like I was under the ocean. Just a black hole, a void. If you know depression, you know that this is just, like it's raining on the inside all the time. I used to be really good at masking. I can't anymore. I can sometimes, especially for kids, but, that's my heart. Children have always been that way for me. But the win was getting out of bed. The win was putting the shoes on. The win was getting in the car. There was a point in my journey where I would have a panic attack, thinking of having to go driving to the hospital, to anywhere. I isolated myself so much that being outside scared me. And I'd do it. I'd act like I was fine. I'd smile when I was terrified. What got me out of bed today was being on Instagram and following this neurosurgeon. This woman that's about neuroscience, and she's also into spirituality. So, I can vibe on that because that's how I grew up. I grew up with science and Christianity. So, just to tell you a little about me, I see all of the sciences, all of the religions, metaphysics, whatever you want to call the discipline, as God. It's all how we chop up and be able to understand the Most High. The perspiration, the condensation on the glasses. And I think she was saying something about how, our amygdala, the fear response, it will try to keep you where you are at. She said something about how we only see like 99% of our 99%, like 1% of our world or something like that. And you know how we know either in spirituality or in science that what you focus on expands. So we can either continue to focus on the sadness and let it feel so overwhelmingly big that it obscures everything good in our lives, or we focus on the good things, whether that's just the air in our lungs. And sometimes we can be so far down in that well that even that feels like a punishment. I've been there. I know what it feels like to not want to be here. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed because I see God in everything and everyone. I'm blessed because I have a family that doesn't give up. And I have parents who taught me not to either. So even though I'm crying through doing my dumbbells and I look ridiculous and it's embarrassing, you just keep going. You just keep going. I think one blessing that I found in depression is that I just don't care. And you know, when people say that, I'm like, yes, you do. Deep down, you do. And that's true too. But it's, you know, it gave me that I don't give a F feeling to where I don't hide the broken pieces anymore. I refuse. Because I know I'm not the only one. And that's the lie that depression or religious people would say the devil would try to have you believe. There are 8 billion people. You're not the only one ever in anything. In anything. Even though it might feel like it. But feelings aren't facts. The thing about it, though, is that it's our feelings that help create our reality. So, if you want to co-create a better life for ourselves, for our loved ones, for whomever your why is, you got to connect. Find somebody. And even if that's just a freaking journal sometimes, you got to connect back into your body. For some people, that's running. For some people, that's yoga. Even if it's just being in bed and all you can do is lift your legs, that's enough. That's enough. Once you start naming the things, there's a moment where it's like, okay, that's what it is. But then there's other moments where it's like, okay, now what? And if you need that guide to be with you in the now what's and the steps to take to keep going, to help realize what is in you that you want to manifest, there are people here. I am one of them. It took me a long time to even see. No, that's not true. I saw that I was there for that. My belief in myself was so low that I couldn't even put myself out there. I was doing it for, people around me, of course, because you're naturally that person. If you feel like you need a touchstone, a sounding board, I can be that person for you. It's what I know I'm here for. The thing is, the makeup, the hype energy that people have, where they're like, hey, we have all the... The knowledge. Like, I went to school for this. I know this. And I need to show you that I know this. I've passed that now. I have what I have. And if you're willing to be able to open yourself up and trust that you have what you have within you, we can explore this together. We're taught as kids that, crying is weakness. Stop crying. And in some ways, our parents, our guardians, whoever taught us that. They're trying to prepare us for the world because the world is harsh and cruel and all of that. But I'm here to tell you that your tears are a release. And they're good, and they're natural. And doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you because you're releasing. I'm going to put my information below. If you feel called to, if you need a space where you need to vent, I'm shedding my little light and saying that I'm here. I love you.